on behalf of all of us, thank you, Royce, for Royce ഇന്നലെ പറഞ്ഞ interactive sectionൽ പറഞ്ഞ കുറച്ച് കാര്യങ്ങൾ നമ്മളെല്ലാവരെയും strike ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് we had asked you to just speak a few words. So, yeah, before we are late, നമ്മൾ ഇന്ന് പള്ളിയുടെ Zoom borrow ചെയ്തേക്കുന്നത്, so we need to finish on time. So, over to you, Royce. Thank you.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, I want to start off with a big disclaimer. This is not a Bible or spiritual session. This is just my personal reflection on this Lent period. Okay. It may not feel right for all because just remember everyone's pathway is a bit different. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end, the destination is the same. Yeah. So there might be stuff over here that you may think like, oh, that's not right. That's not right. But that's okay. Just how we started off as Justy's big question is, what did you give up for Lent? And she's right. It's a big question because every time for Lent, there's sacrifices. Yeah, so we try to emulate what Jesus sacrificed, and we try to do that. But this time, when Lent started, I was thinking of, okay, what should I give up? And what did I do previously? The previous things is very similar because remember in yesterday's meeting, everyone said similar things like meat, chocolate, and I had the same. I think I call it the MAC, which is meat, alcohol, and chocolate is the three things which I usually give up. But it did not actually mean anything because let's be honest, like meat, we all Malayalis here now or Indians were vegetable. It was our staple food. So therefore, even if there was no meat, we could do by. So it was not a big sacrifice in any way for me in that way. For me, the bit toughest out of that was chocolate. Chocolate was the toughest one to do. So therefore, it actually did mean something in that way. But this year, I thought, like, I want to do something else. Sacrifice may be one thing, but it's not always something you give up. And at the end, end of year, by Easter, you bring it back on. So there was no personal journeys in there for me. So what I did, I wanted Lent to be a little more transformative. And that's what I was trying to do over here. So for me, Lent, what I wanted to try to do is actually be transformative and sustain that transformation beyond Lent. So it's not just I'll start something and stop during Lent. I wanted it to keep on going. So if you think about the ultimate goal for me is transformed. Yeah, transformed into that. Whether I do that or not is a different question. And that's why I was trying to work at, okay, if I have to transform myself or I want to do something that is a bit different, what I thought, what is lacking in me and what I wanted to improve was, I really wanted to improve my relationship with God. Because if you think about it, I'm a Christian. Everyone knows as a Christian, okay, that's fine. But what is Christianity for me was a bit different, okay? It's a religion which is fine. It's been installed in me since childhood. But what I wanted to improve on was that relationship with God that I have. It was like more of a personal relationship, which I did. My current relationship was God. It was okay. I mean, it's not saying it doesn't exist. It did exist, but it was just prayer and church. But just it became more habitual or mechanical. What that means, it's like automatic. I'm probably poem, and then I say the words, but the words I say is from my head. It's knowledge. It's knowledge built in my head. So it may mean something to the church, but it meant nothing to me. Yeah, in that sense. So which is right, because it was built by Sunday school and by my parents. So it just became more of a habit. You go Sunday to church, you say these things at this period of time, you say these things at this period of time, and it's fine. It worked for everyone. But the reality was it actually didn't mean anything to me specific, or I didn't actually improve anything of my relationship with God in that perspective. So if you think about my trajectory with God relationship, when I was a child, it was because my parents took me to church. Yeah. And when I started going to university, it's because when it was my closest relationship when I had exams. Yeah. And it was more of a one-way relationship. It's like, Devame, pass please on the pass. So at that time, I believe my relationship, even though it was one way, was strong to God. But when I started working, it became more of a habit because like if I don't do something on Sunday, then it's like, I know there was a small guilt that you didn't do anything, because from Kochile നമ്മൾ പള്ളി പോകും Sunday. So that small guilt is there, but it's more of a habitual thing. It is not because, because I want to talk to God one-to-one, I want to do that. So it was trying to improve that in me. That's what I want to do, is to reflect on my personal relationship with God. So I started thinking, because that's what we usually try to do when we come into a junction like that. I think the big question was, is God or Jesus still relevant for me today, in my life today? How is God relevant in my life today? And I think the bigger question was, how is someone who lived more than 2,000 years ago in a place 2,000 miles away has anything to do with my life today? And there's so many ways you can find answers on this. Yeah, you can go to Google, you can go to priests, to bishops, or books. I understand things a little bit different, because I have to explore things myself if I need to understand on a particular fact. Okay, and bishops and priests are good, but whatever happens is like, see, they can advise you, they can inspire you in a way, but they cannot give you the answers. Yeah, if you want the answers to be in your heart to really understand, you need to do it yourself, and that's something I personally felt is the way for me to go. And one of the biggest concerns with the question I asked was like, faith does not always go with logic. Yeah, and people over here, we all like study math, science. You're a doctor, you're an engineer, you're studying to be a science in a way. So we all based on science evidence. Everything is based on that. So you try to find facts for how to improve your relationship with God. Because first question is, do you really even believe that God is there? Because I was always challenged. I'm a very logical person. So it says a logical person can never be a good Christian. Yeah, it is right, because you base it on faith. You don't actually base it on logic in a way, because that's blind faith is what put Christianity in there. So, which is why if I wanted to explore Christianity, or for me, I tried exploring Christianity in a bit different way. I tried to explore it through the most logical people I know of, and those are scientists. So I tried reading up, and even like YouTubes and videos and pictures on famous scientists who were very logical, but were also Christians. A few examples is Newton. Yeah, there are lots of books on Newton and his theories and how it links with Christ. Galileo was another one, a famous astronomer who found things beyond the earth that we see of. Kepler is another one. I think the most famous one people are aware today is Francis Collins. I don't know if anyone knows who Francis Collins is. He is the father of DNA. He's the person who actually found the light thread of DNA, and he's actually, I think it's called Project Genome, in terms of where he's living today. He's one of those scientists today. But one common theme, if you read all about them or start to understand about them in terms of how they found reason of what faith is like, it doesn't, see, even for finding a reason or logic, you need to have faith. You need to have faith that that logic exists. So even if for an atheist, he needs to have faith that God does not exist.
Not there.
Yeah. So faith is the base of everything. Even for logic or non-logic, faith is the base of everything. And that was a good explanation. I think it came from Francis Collins. It was like, everything starts with faith. Even if you want to believe something or you don't want to believe something, it has to start with faith. And then you start exploring a lot more. Because of time, obviously, I'm not going through a lot of details of what I did. But one common thing that comes from all these people that actually inspired me was they applied Christ for fulfillment of life. Okay, you can find lots of scientific things, you can explore a lot of things, but at the end, the Christ for them represented fulfillment of life and happiness. So I try to apply that to me. So in reality, life, what everyone is a happiness bucket. What we say is like we're constantly trying to fill in things to make it fulfill. Yeah, it's like either more money or nicer things, better grades in school, or to get into a better uni. So we're trying to always be moving on, so that we're trying to fulfill this void that we have. And even if you're not there, like in activities during church or charity, or even go for trips, it's to fill that one particular void that we have. So people in this call, I think, so I just wanted to ask you one quick question is, truly what makes you happy every time. Yeah. So think about it in a way, like every time that thing should make you happy. Okay. Uh, Funny enough, most people actually say, first thing they say is money. Yeah. Do you all know Jim Carrey? You know, he used to be a famous actor. Yeah. There's a particular interview with Jim Carrey where he said, like, he wishes all the people are millionaires. The reason why is then they will know money does not make you happy. Yeah. Because we can all say, people who started working, okay, when you started in a lower base. Yeah. But you still lived. Yeah. And today, like when you're actually working, you've actually got more money, but you're still living in a way and you still have problems, right? The money is never sufficient. So it will never make you happy. So if you've thought of things that make you happy, take up the materialistic things. Yeah. Because if you take them off, it makes you sad. Like, so be music, money, food, you take that off, then you realize that's not there. Then what do you think about it's like family, friends, achievements like you've done? The question is, do they make you happy all the time? Because you could say, yeah, majority of the time, my wife makes me happy, but there's 10% I actually feel like, not really. Yeah. Kids is the same. Kids, I love the kids to bits, but then there's like certain times like, but it's like just suddenly starting thinking of it. But for me, when you take it all in one big umbrella, reality is what makes you happy was life. Life makes me happy. God gave me this life, and he made me alive to experience all these materialist things that we said, and also the family and the friends like you that we have over here. So it's life that makes me happy. And then you start thinking like, but do I really appreciate that life? How do I really appreciate Christ who has given me this life? Our problem in today's world is like we lived in a very fast-paced world. Yeah, we're always moving, we're always thinking what's next. So what I decided is one day I decided to just press pause. Okay, just press pause in my life and just take it all in. Appreciate Christ on this life that He's given me, the exact moment, live this exact moment that God has given me. And that's what I wanted to be appreciative about. That's how I started connecting with Christ. For the first time, you could see things in a different lens. You could always see it before, but once you pause, you see it in a bit different lens. So if you really think about what did I achieve in Lent, I achieved clarity. Okay, I achieved a little more clarity. I realized that it's not something just at the end of the Lent where I get a short answer what I was looking for, more of a personal relationship. In reality, it was not. It's a long journey. It's not an end goal for Lent. So what I want to do is continue exploring and make it part of my daily routine, because this clarity gets clearer and clearer in different ways. And that was pretty much what I wanted to share with you. And what I want to say as the last few message points is, it's Good Friday tomorrow, and it's a good opportunity for you guys to build your own relationship with God. Remember, it's a journey, and it has to go to eternity. So what I would suggest is spare a few minutes of your busy day to pause and explore something new about your faith. Yeah. But when you connect, because remember, it's not always going to church and praying, which is fine. You do that, is great. But when you connect full access. Yeah. Give him your full, he will give you your full in a way. So you connect straight off with him. It's always more rewarding if you explore it yourself. So find that path or source that relates to you. So remember, for me, it was about looking for logical people because that made more sense to me. For you, it may be completely different ways there. And the last thing I want to say is give equal importance to God's gift, which is the present. It's a play on the word. The present is actually today. Because you have things in the past, which is important because it's experience what makes you stronger. But you also, for people who are doing studies and learning, you have to also plan for the future, right? It's part of it. But give equal importance to the present. Try to appreciate your parents, your friends, the life God has given you. And together, that will give you a holistic view of connection with God. That was it, guys. That's all I wanted to share. Like I said, it was nothing spiritual. It's just more of my personal reflection on Christ and my Lent period.
Thank you. Thank you, Royce.
Thank you, Royce.
Yeah.
We have 2 more minutes.
Yeah, I have noted down a few points that Royce said. I'll put it in the group. And yeah, we'll send all the personal thank you messages to Royce today. And
key questions
Any
for
questions?
Royce?
Royce, one quick question. So you mentioned that sometimes you get this doubts. And before you were going in search of logistics scientists and everything to find that connection with God. When you get that confusion, like when you said you are in church, you are just saying the words. You're not. It doesn't. It comes from your head. It doesn't come from the heart. Anganate situation ഒക്കെ വരുമ്പോ what makes you go back quickly without thinking too much?
Go back where?
Going back, like, no, it's just my doubts. I'm still a faithful Christian, or like not to be doubtful or not to be guilty that I'm doubting my faith. Angana oru situation where how do we?
I think you never doubt your faith. You are a Christian. That faith is there. It's like the depth of your faith is what you doubt. Okay, and that is good because that helps you try to find out a lot more. So questions are good. Yeah. So in Revelation, if you go to St. Paul's, there's a picture. It's a picture of Christ on the outside of a door. Yeah, and he's knocking to get in. Now, if you look at that door does not have a handle, and that paint. Everyone thought that artist made a mistake, but the reality is the artist did not make. He said the handle is inside the door, so the person has to open the door little by little for God to come back in. Yeah. So he's already has Christ in the pathway. It's how much more he gets to it is up to you. So doubts are good, guys. That's what makes you explore things. Yeah. So you never question your faith because you're already in church. There's a reason you're in church, but you question how much deep you are in that faith.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Anything else? Anyone?
Thank you, Royce.
Okay. Thank you very much, Royce.
Hey guys, and you.
All right.
Bye.
See you all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Royce. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Royce.